I'm here with Philippe Roos, Senior Reporter and Analyst with Energy Intelligence. Philippe, the title of this year's conference is Strategies for the Energy Transition. How difficult it is for the industry to find a way forward in this?
Rather difficult, because the industry is facing a dilemma. I mean, besides the pressure it gets from society and investors, it's facing the dilemma that oil and gas demand is still growing, and it's going to keep growing for a few years at least, maybe a decade. Whereas at the same time, all energy and climate scenarios show that it should plateau and start decreasing very soon. So the industry is facing the dilemma of having to invest and at the same time having to prepare and show that they will be ready for a post-oil and gas era.
So, I mean, will they need a very different business model to navigate this new energy environment?
They will certainly need different business models. The problem for them is that nobody really knows what the right business model is, and nobody really knows whether there is a right business model. There is, on the one hand, the so-called big energy model, where oil companies could continue producing oil and gas, what they know the best, producing oil and gas, in a cleaner way, maybe by focusing on clean and cheap resources, and do that for the next 10 or 20 years and see what happens. And there's the other school of thoughts that says that the oil industry, oil companies should turn into big energy companies, invest more into renewables, into power, into green technologies. The problem there is that it's new for them, and again, nobody really knows what the right thing or the right field or the right technology would be to invest in. And then there's the next question is whether you do the big oil or the big energy model. At some point, as I said, climate models say that oil and gas production should start to decrease, and I don't think they're really ready for that.
And is investment in electricity utilities in this context going to help them secure a market for gas?
They could help them secure a future, definitely, because electricity is here to stay, while oil and gas at some point are not here to stay. Electricity is here to stay, but is the future of electricity gas? That's a question. That's questionable, actually. Gas is certainly a bridge fuel or a transition fuel for the next decade or perhaps 2 decades. We will need gas to generate electricity in a fairly clean way, in a flexible way, which fits very well with the problem renewables have, which is intermittency. But longer term, it's not quite sure that some gas will be needed, but it's quite possible that only small amounts of gas will be needed. So it's not sure that it's going to secure a future for natural gas.
I mean, given this uncertainty and the ESG pressures, I mean, are there concerns about the industry's kind of financial performance, and could these affect long-term financing and share price?
It could affect, it will probably affect at some point in the future. Right now, it's probably too early to see. Except for some segments of the industry. If you're, for example, a pure play oil sands producer, you're starting to face problems finding financing, at least within the large international banks. For the major oil companies, it's too early to have a financial impact, whether it's financing projects or it's the share price. But it's quite likely that these ESG pressures will eventually have an impact. Yes.
So it's going to be a very kind of difficult landscape to navigate.
A very interesting one as well, yes.
Great, well, thank you very much.
Thank you.